was sitting on the curb playing guitar, waiting for my girlfriend to come back to her house from school, and I went, whoa, somebody makes these. I wonder how they do it. I'd like to do it myself. And my background is my father was worked in metal, glass, wood. We made our toys, and it never crossed my mind not to try something like that. But first I had to understand it, so I took that guitar apart, to figure it out. And my mom was the Google of the day. She was a reference librarian, so before computers, if you're doing a book, a paper, or whatever, you went to her to get information. So her bright idea is you're going to put it back together, and we'll get the resources to find out how. But since there was nothing on steel string guitars, it was on violin making. That was very fortunate because violin makers are critically concerned about the sound, whereas steel string guitar makers don't have to be. Remember I said they're loud, and the story will take care of the rest. So that was my beginnings, and I fumbled around with it for a long time. I met my mentors, which gave me some direction, and then I took on my extremely valuable two partners in the beginning, Will Davis and Bruce Ross. My mentors, Bruce McGuire and Jim Patterson, are both gone now, but they were here before we were here, and they're not on the radar at all. There was a few other people in Santa Cruz, violin maker, a bow maker, etc. And I'm going to attribute that to something we can't describe that's in Santa Cruz that made it artistic, our Cork community, way back into the 1800s. And the legacy that I inherited from my mentors and kind of got out onto the world stage as a part of that too. I built on my own for some years before I started Santa Cruz Guitar Company, and a simple evolution there is I couldn't learn fast enough. I was in a vacuum, and I knew that we could experiment more, learn faster, add a much more depth to what we're doing if we worked as a team rather than me alone. We'll keep it in focus for the context we're in, but that's a tenet of most lasting religious paradigms and spiritual pursuits, that you get more than you give, and you truly can't give things away. And that's one of the gifts of being older, if you will, is you find that really works over time. And for us, the stuff that we've gotten from, as I said, aerospace, automobile engineering, other instrument makers, that's why we're where we are. And so for us to be open source is truly no risk at all. For us, we were the ones able to take it from like a garage pursuit or one person working into something a little bigger and attract more attention. So we're certainly instrumental in the boom. A lot of people that you find working out there came through this shop and got their education here. A lot of them had nothing to do with this, but were attracted by that. So yeah, I'm not personally taking credit by saying Santa Cruz Guitar Company is a big part of why that's such a dynamic here. And then you'll find people that just came here because it was a cool place to be creative. Together we came up with an idea that hadn't been done before. Maybe we call that the part of the pioneering thing of boutique Luthier, to not start another factory, but take the principles of Luthier and do it as a team. I kind of recoil from the Master Luthier designation. There's no certification criteria for that. I'm hardly uncomfortable with that as a title, but I'm very proud of being a coach. That's really my skills and my gift, if you will, to help people bring the best out in them. And for Santa Cruz Guitar Company, a great description is it's a place that's safe to do your best. A lot of workplaces aren't. I've been lucky enough to go around the world in support of the company for wood and promotion, but I also have done some lyceums, some studies with people on lute making, some Asian instrument making, learning about strings and stuff like that. That hopefully we keep that up forever. That helps us for continuous improvement on our own guitars. There's so much mythology out there on guitars and what they do and on the internet. And I don't want to take away any of the magic or artistry, but really aren't mystery, so to speak, unless you want to get down on the molecular level. The information there is on how to make acoustic guitar you can get on YouTube today. How to control the sound of the guitar is available in the body of information in violin making. So people could really access all of those secrets if they wanted to, but there's nothing that replaces the experience. You know, the time and the experience to put it into practice, find out what does work and what doesn't. We're tool makers for creativity, and just like any creative endeavor you want to do, you can be really limited by the tools that you have. And we could have many choices as guitar makers. We could make guitars accessible by price. At the other extreme is to make guitars that are the finest tool possible for somebody to use in expressing creativity. And that means like a depth and complexity of sound that lasts a lifetime. They can explore a palette of colors, a kitchen full of condiments and tastes that somebody can put together to truly create what they want to do, and to do it in a straightforward manner that they can understand, so that it's not confusing. I actually do a workshop with Eric Skye, who's a masterful jazz fingerstylist, and we talk about the comparison of in the jazz improvisation. First, you practice and learn your chord shapes, so you always know where home is, and then you can improvise. You can go way out there and always get back. You play with a group of people, and they can do jazz, but they can always come back to the fundamentals. And for us, having done guitars for this many years as a close-knit team, we really have our chord shapes or our guitar shapes down, so we really can truly improvise and do custom work and sound looks and things like that, but never lose the fundamental of the integrity, the structural integrity, and the basic sound of the guitar. Guitar should inspire. It should inspire and not limit creativity. It doesn't create anything in its own. One of the things that I like to remind people is the guitar is absolutely nothing until it leaves here. We've done a really nice job of putting something together and making potential, but once it gets out of here, it truly can change the world. And we've seen that. It's been used in ministry, education. It's affected international borders and things like that. So it's a very dangerous tool once it gets out there. Yeah, very fun run. Really, really fun run. And we wouldn't be here for many, many, many reasons. It's a whole series of miracles that we're here. But some of the early ones was attracting the attention of players like Eric Clapton or Tony Rice, where it went from a player could play our guitar and think it sounded 200% better than anything he'd ever played, but he wasn't about to buy it for fear of what his friends would think, if he didn't buy the Martin. But once we had those names associated with it, it became completely okay and even a little inside and cool to get one of our guitars. So that's a huge, huge help. There was a journalist that asked me after taking the tour, she goes, "Oh, this seems like so much fun. 40 years, it must seem like it just flew by." And I went, "It seems like about 40 years." If we do stop motion, go, oof, there's some wincing elements, and some really cool victories. So yeah, we're the lucky ones.